Michaela is at the bus stop, enjoying the coolness of the snowflakes on her face. But then the bus she needs arrives, and she heads off on her way. At that moment, Leo is bargaining in a store because he wants to buy his 13-year-old daughter her first smartphone, but not for all the money in the world. During this time, his car gets completely snowed in. He receives a parking ticket, and in a foul mood, the man pulls a pistol out of his pocket and puts it in the glove compartment. Meanwhile, Laura, Carlos, and their children are checking out of a hotel, and they are being charged for parking they never used. The woman makes a scene, but her husband meekly pays the bill. Alicia, in a rage, rushes to work at the center that coordinates the utility workers. Because of a sick colleague, she cannot celebrate Three Kings Day with her mother. Her partner shows her on the screen the movement of an air front. A snowstorm named Michaela is approaching. At the same time, Leo's boss only adds to his frustration, threatening him with disciplinary action. The cop is angry. He has been in the force for 40 years, only a couple of years away from retirement, and suddenly this happens. On top of that, his wife is upset because he is late for the family holiday, but he is stuck in a traffic jam caused by the snowfall. Carlos and Laura are also stuck in traffic, as is a van with robbers inside. They argue on their way back from a failed job. Someone gave them the wrong tip. Suddenly one of them, Eric, notices an armored truck and suggests robbing it. He convinces the leader, Pavel, that it is easy money, and Pavel gives the go-ahead. They believe that the people in the cars around will not intervene. After all, it is not their property being stolen. Eric, with his accomplices, and another named Van, sneak up to the armored truck, slash its tire, and take the lives of the guards. The driver manages to call the police, but soon after, he is shot. Carlos and Laura argue because the wife thinks her husband is such a spineless weakling. Suddenly, their son tugs at them, pointing out the armed men in masks right in front of their car. The bandits throw a smoke grenade to drive out the last guard protecting the money compartment. Pavel brings a blowtorch and forces open the door. Meanwhile, headquarters sends Leo to check the situation on the highway, as people are calling in about the robbery, and he is the only police officer nearby. The man approaches the van. Suddenly unable to withstand the smoke, the last guard jumps out, opens fire on the robbers, and they fire back. Leo also joins the firefight. Pavel is wounded, while his accomplices frantically stuff the money into bags. Afterward, the robbers run along the road, fling open the door of the first car they see, and point their weapons at the driver. It turns out to be Carlos, while his wife and children tremble with fear. The bandits force the man to get out and help them carry the loot. At gunpoint, he is compelled to obey and walks off without even taking his jacket. Meanwhile, Leo inspects the armored truck and, unable to resist, takes a couple of bundles of cash for himself. Suddenly, the policeman hears the click of a cocked hammer, spins around instantly, and sees a fragile young woman pointing a gun at him. It turns out to be Michaela, who is from the Civil Guard, fresh out of the academy, and on her way to practical training. The man is skeptical, since the cadet is completely inexperienced, but there is no choice. He has to take her as his partner. At that moment, the distressed Laura rushes over, begging them to help her husband. Michaela immediately calms the desperate woman. Reinforcements are already on the way, but for now, she and Leo must find the criminals. At the Municipal Command Center, guards arrive under the command of Lieutenant Arana. Alicia, monitoring the cameras, spots Leo's car on the road. They track nearby vehicles, search for the stolen ones, and identify a motorhome. Inside, Pavel writhes in pain, and realizing that he is close to death, appoints his nephew Eric as the new leader. Carlos begs the bandits to let him go, but they gag him. Leo and Michaela hide the armored truck's money in his trunk. She notices that the man has kept a bundle for himself, and under her reproachful gaze, he puts it back. Leo and Michaela are sent to check the trailer, but the criminals have escaped. Inside lies only the motionless Pavel. Suddenly he fires at Leo, but the cop shoots back and afterward removes his bulletproof vest. Meanwhile, at the center, Alicia shows the guards the nearby villages, since the bandits could have headed there through the fields. However, in such a snowstorm, they are more likely to stick to the road, so groups are dispatched for encirclement. At the scene, Michaela notes that the criminals' tracks are being covered by snow and insists they must follow them immediately. But Leo prefers to wait for the special forces. Still, anything could happen to the hostage, so the young woman persists and forces him to hurry. It turns out the bandits have led them on a false trail, while in reality they are running in the opposite direction along the highway, hiding behind vehicles. Laura has already been waiting for 2 hours for news, and finally the guards arrive, but no one knows her husband's fate. Leo hands the money to the special forces and insists the criminals must be pursued while the trail is still fresh. But the reinforcements have their own plan. In the meantime, one of the bandits quarrels with the others. Just because Pavel appointed Eric as the leader, why does he get to command? Eric tells him to go his own way. Fortunately, he has already received his share. Afterward, Eric and Ivan force Carlos to continue carrying the bags of loot further. His wife weeps, for life has changed in an instant. They had been arguing, and now she cannot even ask for forgiveness or tell him how much she needs him. She gives the policeman Carlos's boots, and he swears he will deliver them to him. But they are still stuck in traffic and cannot get out with the car. Then it dawns on Laura that Leo and Michaela can ride the motorcycle that one of the guardsmen had arrived on. They do just that, and on the way they notice a bandit breaking into a truck. He fires at them with an assault rifle. Leo kills him and takes the money, while blood gushes from Michaela's stomach. The young woman is seriously wounded. She needs to get to a hospital. Lieutenant Arana spots a group of fugitives on the surveillance cameras. They are only a kilometer away, and he decides to move out. Alicia asks him to be careful, then calls him handsome and slyly asks his colleague Koba whether he is married. But then she refocuses on her work, and the surveillance camera shows that the fugitives are heading toward the railway station, where a train will soon arrive, so they must hurry. Arana requests reinforcements to be sent there, and he himself runs toward the station with his partner along the snowy road. The bandits are also approaching this place. Numb from the cold without his jacket, Carlos collapses from exhaustion, but they force him to get up. Ivana suggests dropping the bags and weapons, but stubborn Eric wants to see it through to the end since he had promised his dying uncle. Besides, he knows the area well. On another stretch of the road, Leo supports Michaela tightly as he leads her, encouraging her that she will now be awarded a medal. He himself is only earning points, so he will not be dismissed. Alicia sees on the cameras that the bandits are running toward the tunnel leading to Madrid. The lieutenant redirects the officers, but the pursuit is greatly hindered by people, as the cars are stuck in traffic and drivers and passengers step out to stretch their legs. The special forces herd everyone back inside and chase the robbers with assault rifles. The bandits open fire, using the hostage as cover. Arana orders them not to shoot so as not to hit Carlos. And then Eric makes a fatal mistake. His ammunition runs out, and he takes Ivana's rifle. Carlos is not as helpless as he seemed, because he seizes the opportunity. When Eric jumps into a technical room in the tunnel, the hostage locks him inside and knocks Ivana to the ground. She has no choice but to run away. With no weapon left, the young woman hides under the tarp of a truck. Her furious accomplice notices the surveillance camera in the room and smashes it with a shot. Then he flees through the service tunnel. Meanwhile, Carlos, with his last strength, holds the door handle and begs the special forces not to shoot him, because he is the hostage. The men lead him aside, and then his nerves finally give way. He begins to vomit. Leo and the bleeding Michaela are picked up by a snowplow, and the driver informs dispatcher Alicia that he is transporting an officer and a wounded guardswoman. The young woman has a large wound. She tries to hold on and asks Leo how bad her condition is. Hiding his worry, he replies that she will not be dancing anytime soon and that she must endure, while at the same time urging the driver to go faster. But the driver is already driving at maximum speed, taking them through the blizzard along the night highway. Suddenly, the girl asks why Leo is at risk of being dismissed. The policeman admits that he was handling a case, and he was asked to conceal certain things, and he accepted a gift for doing so. The girl is outraged, since he took the easy path, covering up cases and receiving gifts. He looks into the eyes of the somewhat naive but honest young woman and asks her to end the conversation. The special forces realize that Eric is running alone through the tunnel, but where is the second bandit? Meanwhile, the criminal is dodging about, trying to escape. At one moment, he runs toward the cars, then slips into a technical room. Alicia tracks all his movements through the cameras and coordinates the special forces. He is already only 50 meters from them, but again slips away and disappears from the surveillance cameras. The special forces search the area, but the criminal seems to have vanished into thin air. Alicia guesses that he escaped through a ventilation shaft and is running into the forest. Koba contacts Leo and learns that they are driving through the pass. Then she says that just 100 meters from them is a ventilation tower, which the suspect is heading toward, and that he must be stopped. Leo looks at Michaela and refuses, saying they cannot stop. Unexpectedly, the wounded girl speaks up, saying that the driver can take her, while Leo must keep earning his points. She adds that he has proven today that he is a good policeman, while she is only an inexperienced trainee, though lucky to have such a teacher. At this, Leo asks, "And what is her name?" and is struck to realize that it is the same as the snowstorm currently changing their lives. Leo steps out and watches the snowplow drive away. This was his chance to escape, but he does not regret his decision. He sees the fleeing bandit and resorts to a trick. The cop hangs his coat on one tree, hides behind another, and then shouts for the man to stop. The robber fires a burst from his assault rifle into the coat, and Leo shoots him. The bandit falls, and the policeman approaches to check if he is alive. Suddenly, Eric leaps up, fires his assault rifle, and runs. Meanwhile, Arana arrives to help, and together they surround the bandit and force him to surrender his weapon. At the command center, everyone jumps for joy. Drivers are happy because the road has finally been reopened. From a truck, Ivana emerges with a bag and vanishes into the night. Soon, Carlos is reunited with his loving family. They cry tears of joy. Arana drives to Alicia, but the young woman has quit her job. However, her car has broken down, and he offers to give her a ride. It is clear that love is blossoming between them. Leo buys an expensive phone and a trip to the Caribbean and heads to his family, who are at that very moment watching the news about his deeds. Later, he meets with Michaela and tells her that he is going to receive a medal, though she deserves it more. He admits she was right, saying that duty is hard to fulfill, but it must be done, and everything else is just excuses. At this point, the film ends. Thank you all for watching this video until the end.